We were promised goals, weren't we, between Borussia Dortmund and PSG, but for a while, there were none. In fact, up to the 69th minute, but then the game just exploded into life. Haaland, on his Champions League debut for Borussia Dortmund, would make it 1-0. PSG quickly equalised. Nice assist from Mbappe would find Neymar. But then Erling Haaland would score the winner. And this kid is just on fire at the moment. When I say the winner, it was just a rocket from outside the box to give Borussia Dortmund a 2-1 lead going into the second leg. That is 11 goals in 7 games since joining Dortmund over the summer. It seems the place to start, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've got the likes of Mbappe and Neymar on the pitch, yeah, it's Haaland who everyone's talking about.
He's the draw. We said it yesterday. Whenever the Dortmund team comes out, whether they're playing in the Bundesliga or the Champions League, the first thing almost everybody asks now is Haaland playing, right? And here's a guy, a teenager, who is doing it at the elite level. He's doing it for his previous club. He's doing it for this club. By the way, a huge club in Germany, which is under pressure to perform in the knockout stages against one of the biggest spenders in European football in the last decade, and he just doesn't seem fazed. I mean, there are little parts of his game that he knows himself, when he said it, I need to work on. Sometimes his first touch, or he just needs to slow down a little bit. But in general, for somebody of his age, he has just been immense.
The first goal, when it went in and he scored it, we were like, everything is just falling for him at the moment because the ball kind of spun around, fell into his path, and he scores. That second one was world class.
Yeah, no, he had a lot to do. He had a defender in front of him, and the pace that he hit the ball with very little backlift. You know, the ball was past the goalkeeper before he moved, because you're watching it and you're thinking he's going to have to go a little further to get a hit on this. And as you're thinking that, the ball's in the back of the net. That's a talent. That's God-given. And this guy has got talent. And the other thing I love, and there was 2 things that happened. The way this guy plays, he plays like a 19-year-old. He plays like a guy who just wants to go out and score goals. He's smiling all over the shop.
He's running around everywhere.
He's running around. And then I'm looking at Mbappe. We know what Neymar's all about. I'm looking at Mbappe, and Mbappe started to do what Neymar started doing all these little flicks and tricks and round the legs and try to do. And he's like, hold on a second, that's not what made you great. What made you great is what this guy Haaland's doing right now. So I hope Haaland just sticks to what he does now, enjoys his game, and just sticks the ball in the back of the net.
Do you know what? Normally, from a defender's point of view, you're playing against a player and you think, right, this striker, he's a penalty box striker, but he isn't going to pick the ball up 30, 40 yards and crash one, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Or he's that kind of player and I need to be closing him down, but he's not very sharp in the box. This boy does both sides of the game, plus the fact that normally you're playing against a player who's maybe quick, or you're playing against a player who's maybe not as mobile, but is physical. He's got it all. I mean, he's got the physicality of the old-fashioned number 9, but he's got the speed of a striker who plays off the big guy. And we saw that in the one that he went through on goal in the second half. His touch just got a little bit away from him, and it looked, for all the will in the world, that the goalkeeper was going to get there at least a yard or 2 in front of him. And he still managed to get there and get his left toe in and almost tempt the goalkeeper into giving a penalty kick away. An immense performance from a young man who is, by the way, only going to get better.
How strong is this guy going to be? And when I say that, you might not remember, Dan, there used to be a guy called Niall Quinn, and he came on the scene as a 19-year-old, and he was a big, skinny, gangly guy. And when you hit him, you know, you could feel his bones.
Right.
I'll tell you what, about 12 months, 18 months later, I remember hitting him. I'll tell you what, I nearly broke my foot. This is what's going to happen to Haaland. He's only going to get quicker, stronger and faster. I mean, it's scary to think how big and strong this guy will be.
Gab, this is why we love it, and this is why we love watching this sport, because when you see someone like this come from not nowhere but have so much expectation around him, and then he lives up to it, it's what it's all about.
I mean, you corrected yourself there when you said nowhere. With all due respect, if you go back 12 months, Haaland was 18 years old, but, you know, there were other 18-year-olds that we were talking about. He was not one of them. You know, he just arrived at Salzburg, was coming off the bench, picking his spots. There's no question that, look, all the big clubs have known who he is for a very long time, and he's been plugged into all the networks. But it did seem that he'd somehow slightly gone off the radar, and certainly the general public didn't know who he was. And now they know. The beast is risen. It's absolutely terrifying what he does. And I think the one thing, and I'm sure Borussia Dortmund sports science people and Haaland himself and his dad will all be looking at this, is going to be his physical development as he continues. What kind of a player is he going to be? I mean, you want him to get stronger, but you want him to maintain his pace. You know, sometimes it can be a bit of a zero-sum game. How do you manage that when you've got such a phenomenal athlete above all else?
Let's tip our cap to Borussia Dortmund here. It's, out with what the result might be in another...
To have that at such a young age is exactly why he's got that move initially.
Then the equaliser, it was Neymar. I don't think they deserved it, in your view, at this point in the game, did they?
No, they didn't, no. And to be fair, it was one time this back three that they just lost a bit of shape. And Zagadou, who I thought was tremendous as well, just watch him here. He just slips. He just slips there, almost has to get across, and Neymar's got to tap him. But other than that, they defended brilliantly. And somehow Neymar, he had a poor game, but he came up with a huge away goal for PSG.
I think that was an example, Owen, as well, of why probably Neymar and Mbappe kept dropping so deep all game. Because they felt that there wasn't anybody else in that midfield that could do that. And the minute Mbappe does drop deep and he gets the run on somebody, things happen, as they tend to do when he's running at people. It didn't happen enough, but Neymar got the goal, and at this point you're thinking, oh, he's got away with one here, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, but then Haaland stepped forward again.
Well, I'll tell you what.
What a strike.
First of all, Gio Reyna, 17-year-old young man, comes on. Huge sub from Lucien Favre. He comes on. He's the one that takes the ball on the half-turn in the middle of the pitch and plays in Haaland.
By the way, front three at the end for Dortmund, born in Leeds, Sunderland and London.
Look at that take for a 17-year-old. It's beautiful. It really is. And the weight of that pass for Haaland and that finish, wow. That is just... Dale, 10 goals in 7 games. It's off the
11
charts.
goals as well in 7 games for Dortmund.
No, honestly, the numbers are they're just ridiculous. Fantasy numbers, they really are. That strike is so clean.
It's just how he hits it. It's just, there's no follow-through. It's just hit so pure in the middle of the ball, there's no spin on it, and it just flies through the air. I mean, Navas had absolutely no chance.
You're right, because it looks as if he's almost off balance, stretching, reaching for the ball.
Well, if you're stretching and reaching for the ball, usually the ball goes up, or you just don't get that contact. But he's obviously kind of got good range in terms of how long his legs are, that he just knows how he can hit the ball and when he can hit it, because he seems to hit it at strange times as well, where keepers get caught out.
I know most people know the Haaland story now in world football, but I mean, it's worth reminding everyone at home, he's 19 years old.
He's making the run, always stretching the defenders by the run. Look at this, intercepting back deep in midfield and saying to Witzel, give it back to me, but continues his run forward. He looks like he's bunched there, but he wasn't. Well, you see the 2 goals.
Do you like the cut of his jib?
Yeah, he's always on the half-turn. You know, he's not sort of squared up looking at his own goal. He's always wanting to be on the half-turn, taking it. He's really pacey. He's obviously got that sixth sense that all the top strikers have. Right place, right time. You've seen there was 3 clips there where he's pointing where he wants the ball. If there'd been someone cuter on the ball, he's in on a goalkeeper. I mean, he looks like he's quicker than anyone. He's bigger than anyone. And he's got this sixth sense. He's got a great chance of being a top man, hasn't he?
And to say teenagers are lazy these days.
His mother must have been a good player because his dad was a plodder.
There's the 2 goals, Tommy. Look, the build-up again. He's involved in the build-up with Guerrero. When it comes in there, Guerrero shot.
Awareness.
We saw goals like that, Niall, when we were looking at him before the match.
This is a better goal, Tommy.
Time.
Look at the build-up here. Beautiful. This is the young lad, Reyna, 17-year-old. Throw him into the Champions League match. What a better finish.
His dad wasn't a plodder. He played at me at Sunderland. Claudio Reyna was a great player. I just like to add a little bit to Haaland. I don't think I've seen a 6'4" powerhouse with such mobility since I saw Ruud Gullit play. He's the last 6'4".
What you're going to say since yourself?
No, definitely not me. Definitely not me. But I just can't, like, at such a young age, the goals, everything is so easy for him. But his movement, his grace, he's an athlete.
Do we know, can he head the ball as well?
Not bad. Yeah.
Well, we showed last show before the game. He got headers.
plenty,
Yeah, he'd want, I suppose, it's the size of him.
He didn't have much. One cross tonight, but in the game he flicked a few.
Look, we don't know the whole machinations behind the scenes of what happened with United and the talk that he could have gone there. Did he choose Dortmund? Was United not appealing to him?
Easier introduction.
But my God.
Easier introduction to. It's a step.
A step on his career.
It's easier to play at Dortmund as at Man United right now. Man United, he's going to under all sorts of pressure. He won't be there long. I doubt if you'll see him at Man United. I think if that's him, and he keeps scoring, go, he's destined for Bayern Munich.